Hey, this is Darren Eccles, and I am about to do my milk and food coloring student activity. So as you see here, I have my milk, I have my four different food colorings, dishwashing liquid, which I put a little bit there so it'll be easier to do, and my Q-tip. So first, I'm going to go ahead and pour my milk into the pie pan. So you got like about a half of the pan is filled. And then I'm going to take each food coloring and do one drop each. Not at the edge and not in the center of the pan, but I'm going to do one drop at 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 and 3. So here's 12, 1. And here's one at 3. Here's one at 6. And here's one at 9. Okay, so far, as we can see through observation, which is part of the actions of science, or that we as teachers must know to be able to explain to our students, we have to understand the actions of science too. So now, as we see, the food coloring in the milk is just sitting here. All right, so we're going to make our observations. We're going to pay attention to what we're doing. So I'm going to dip this in the dishwashing liquid pretty good. Then I'm going to put it in the middle of the pan and see what happens. So it's important for students to know that even though science, again, is an empirical thing, empirical subject, creativity plays a big part in it, thinking and conceptualizing your findings and things like that. So right now, I'm going to take it out. It's been 3 to 5 seconds and see what happens. So I can make a come up with a hypothesis of what's going to happen. I think that eventually the colors are all going to come together. I think if I do an analysis of it, I would say that it's going to take a little longer for them to come together because it was one drop and they were further apart opposed to being in the middle. So I think if they were more closer together, then it would dissipate quicker. And then two, milk has milk fat, and milk is mostly water. So there's a bond there. So when you introduce the dishwashing liquid to the milk, it actually breaks that up. It breaks that bond per se. And with the dye being heavier, it's going to take a little bit longer for it to disperse and come together and make the color. So now it's doing that. But again, just as teachers, it's important that we understand the nature of science, and that refers to both the actions and the characteristics of the knowledge that's produced from science activities like these. Again, we want to encourage questions. We want students to know that it's okay for questions. That's all part of science. Science is about discovery. It's okay to be wrong because again, you're testing. You come up with a hypothesis, as a guess of what you're trying to find, and then you go back and you do it again. For me, in this experiment or this activity, it would be better if I had other eyes with me or other scientists working with me. Therefore, my data would be, I guess, more credible in one sense. But again, any explanation in science is not finite. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to remember that there's an opportunity that that explanation can be replaced by something new or something fresh or better information. But again, we want to remember too that there are 3 spheres to science activities, and that's the investigating, which includes the the observation, the questions, the classifying and measuring. With this particular activity, there's no classifying, but there is measuring. I guess it's more of a qualitative than quantitative because there's no number thing involved. And then there's the evaluating and the analysis, which my analysis was what was happening with it and maybe why. And my hypothesis is that it would eventually start to cascade out into a collage. So my findings is that the milk will, when you introduce the Q-tip to the milk and the dye, it breaks up that bond and allows the dye to disperse itself throughout the milk. That's it. Thank you.